our blue Protoss player from TyLoo. Up 2-1 in this set, it is Jim. Hard to make that name sound like intense. It's Jim.
The deadly Jim.
Here in the top right-hand corner of the map, our red Zerg player, down 1-2, trying to come back and tie things up now. From Dream, it is F91.
Jim, the light of China. I could see it.
It's a good ring to it.
I
Pretty
guess
much
so.
all these
Yeah.
guys.
That's right. It works. Well, we're on Daybreak. You know what that means.
It's Daybreak?
It means we're in for a standard Zerg versus Protoss game.
That's
Probably.
true. Could be a long one.
Probably. This matchup, I think, above all other matchups, has the biggest chance to change drastically with Heart of the Swarm as well. If you look at some of the units that are coming in, some of the changes, it looks like Blizzard is kind of enticing Protoss players to become more air-oriented in terms of how they play. It looks like they're enticing Zerg to become a little bit more slow and methodical and siege-oriented in how they play. So, I don't know, it's going to be cool because right now, Protoss is the one that kind of sits back and stuff like that, and Zerg is fast and furious. But in Heart of the Swarm, I think we're going to see a lot of big differences. I know the beta's coming out, soon. I can't wait to get my hands on that, man. I mean,
soon.
And I don't mean
trademark.
like soon trademark. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it legitimately will be soon now. I have this feeling. I don't know. I hope it will be.
Well, I hope your feeling is correct because I'm looking forward to playing it. So we'll see now what both these players are going to move into, though. Jim, once again, forged first, and it looks like he is planning to drop down that pylon. No messing about with it. Just going to put it down right away.
Drone's like, fine. All right, fine.
Let's go all the way over here.
This is the last time I'll have to walk anywhere. I'm becoming a building. That's what he's thinking. They don't really walk, though. They kind of like scuttle or float.
No, scuttle's a good word for it. I like it.
See, what I always wondered is, do they have like 2 little rows of legs underneath where we can't see,
I hope so.
I don't think they do. I think they just kind of fly.
Really?
Well, yeah,
I mean, because we see like their wings, I guess you want to call it, that flapping.
They kind of fly, yeah. I mean, because a lot of Zerg units just kind of float,
Yeah.
for various reasons.
I suppose so. Kind of like Hydralisks, they just kind of squirm.
Well, they just kind of wiggle along.
Yeah.
It's kind of wiggly.
That's true.
That's how it is. Overlords, they just kind of hang out there, man. I mean, obviously they're filled with some sort of buoyant gas. But how do you explain stuff like Guardians, right?
Yeah.
From StarCraft 1, from Brood War. They didn't really seem to have any discernible means of levitation or propulsion, and yet they were able to kind of float around, shoot.
They kind of just
green balls and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what Dream's going to be up to here in a second. Already starting a second queen, and has not put down his third base yet, but saving up for that quite rapidly. We'll see if he decides to go down that process pretty soon. Pulling a lot of drones off the line. Imagine one of those is going to be pulled back to put down a hatchery in just a bit, as he does have the resources for it. And just walks right on by.
Now, what is the efficiency of Maynarding workers all the way to a third like that? I wonder. I wonder if it's, I don't know. He's really taking a long time to put down that third, though.
Yeah, he is. So we'll see if he's going to change things up here in a second. Okay, there we go. So it is going to be 3 base, no gas. Once again, nothing out of the ordinary for F91. And we'll see if he wants to do anything different. He's committed to roaches pretty heavily in every game, even in a game when he, quote-unquote, went for a little bit quicker infestors, which was last one. He still built up to 180 supply before ever going after those. Just didn't put on a ton of pressure.
Yeah. Very, very true. But speaking of things that happen every game, there's yet another fast +1 melee attack upgrade, or ground attack rather upgrade, from TyLoo.Jim. He certainly does like to get his +1 attack very, very quickly in this matchup. Not going for any sort of really fast 3rd and 4th gas this time around. So I feel like we're in for, another gateway push. It's worked out so well for him all through the series. So, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
I mean, these guys are playing very concerted PvZ play. They very much want to kill their opponents, and they want to do it very efficiently, and they want to make sure they're not going to die. And I remember when we did the South by Southwest show match, when that 3 base no hatch, or the 3 base no hatch, LOL, 3 base no gas build was really getting popular from Stefano. And he was, kind of flexing his might there, took that show match pretty easily. It was very fun to still watch those games because they were playing a creative brand of PvZ where White Raw was really working towards high-tech Stargate units. We saw the Anion Pulse Crystals there for the first time in pro play. But these have been a lot more methodical. These have been, we know what it takes to win. We are going to do what it takes to win, and that's going to be that.
Oh, man, I wonder how White Raw feels about all the new air options for Protoss and Heart of the Swarm. I should ask him sometime. I'm going to do that. Don't let me forget. I'm curious to see what he thinks of everything.
I will not let you forget.
All
This
right.
go-around, though, we have once again a different timing. It's been 4 games and 4 different builds for Jim. And even though you may be looking at this and thinking, well, he still has gateways on the Twilight Council. What's so different about this? This time around, he goes up to 4 gates before putting down the Twilight Council and puts down the Robo at the same time. So in the first game, he delayed Twilight Council really, really late and decided to make a 1-1 Immortal push. In the second game, he put down the Twilight Council with 3 gates and ended up doing a Blink Expand. Game number 3 puts down Twilight Council first and does a Blink All In. So, I mean, it's big market differences in the timings you actually get that Twilight Council.
Yeah, and all of that kind of serves to throw F91 off, right? I mean, he's trying to find the time when he needs to make units. He's trying to find the time when he needs to make drones. And so by the way Jim has been kind of, switching things up every game, it's been difficult for F91 to sort of, kind of get a handle on what to expect when. And I think that kind of does a good job of illustrating kind of the big frustrations that a lot of Zergs have in Zerg versus Protoss. It's just there's so many timings that Protoss can hit in that mid game that Zergs need to worry about, that you just need to be really, really diligent with your scouting, because you can't make assumptions. You can't be like, all right, I think he's going to go for this push at this time. You just have to have Lings out across the map. You have to have Overlords out across the map. You just need to be watching and ready, and that's basically it. That's ZVP, but that's one of the things that makes it so hard.
And there we go, yet another different approach for Jim. The 4 gates with the Twilight Council just afterwards means he goes for a quicker expand, but builds Blink along with it, in contrast to the game where he went 3 gate in Twilight Council and researched Blink before expanding to make sure that he was safe with the fewer gateways. So market differences in builds, but it's proved to be kind of cool Protoss play. I like watching it. It's very intellectual Protoss play, I suppose. Minor differences that make a big impact on what he does in the game.
F91's getting drops. That's exciting, man. Could decide to go for Roach drops. Wouldn't be too bad. I mean, it is something that Zergs do try against Protoss every once in a while. For a while, actually, Baneling drops are very popular in ZVP. So I'm curious to see where exactly he wants to try to employ this upgrade that he's getting right now.
And double macro hatches coming out now for Dream. So maybe we're just going to see mass Zergling Baneling drops maybe in a bit as well, because he is going to want the extra larvae to be able to take advantage of all this.
Well, he doesn't have a Baneling nest yet, so I'm guessing it is just going to be Roach Ling, but I'd certainly love to see Banelings added onto it. Sending some Lings across the map right now is Dream F91. He's going to go ahead, clean out that Xel'Naga tower, kind of poke at the third, possibly. He does know it's been taken, but he doesn't know if there's really any defensive there, thinking maybe he can get in there, kill some probes. I feel like he, wouldn't be able to right now, but it's definitely something you always want to check if you're a Zerg player, see where the army is at, right?
And there's the Infestation Pit out of F91. So very cool. He's deciding to switch things up pretty considerably himself. Nice shot picking off that observer there, so not going to have to be able to deal with that for too much longer. But Jim, of course, did get in and saw pretty much everything. Saw the Infestation Pit, saw the double macro hatches, which are very cleverly placed, I might add.
Yeah, okay. So looks like a ton of Zerglings being made right now for F91, and he's just going to drop them into the main. Zergling drops have always been something that we've kind of seen often on in Zerg play, whether it's ZVZ, ZVP, ZVT. Everybody likes to do Zergling drops every once in a while. Not a lot of defense in the main, too, for Jim, so he's going to have to try to get back and respond to this. Oh, and I think F91's setting up an attack at the third, too, with this.
All right. Well, he's going to be able to drop on in, and Jim has to make his way up, and he just used his warp cycle at his third. It means it's going to take an incredibly long period of time for him to be able to react to this.
Yeah, he could kill that Nexus very easily if he wants to. He's going after a few pylons as well. Some of the army coming up right now. A good amount of Stalkers. Overlords making a run for it. The Nexus getting lower and lower. I think it's certainly going to go down, and it does.
And most of the production is cut off as well. And once this pylon actually gets wow. His opponent won't be able to make anything. He'll just have one gateway up, and that's about it. So, wow, this is really well done by F91.
Yeah, it's so annoying for Jim to have to deal with all this stuff blinking ahead to take out some of those Zerglings. Now, and look at this up at the third base. F91 thinking about going in and attacking. This would be the perfect time to do so. Not a very big army there at all, but either way, he did plenty of damage with that drop.
Yes, he did. So what is Jim going to do to come back? I would expect some sort of tech here in a second as well while he waits for those production facilities to get back online. Now is a decent time if you want to put down like a Templar Archives, or if you want to put down a Robotics Bay, because you know that you're going to be set back just a little bit in terms of production. Looks like F91's going to go for it again.
Yeah, I like the addition of the Spire as well. I'd love to see him go Mutalisks out of this as well, just because when you kill all the pylons in your opponent's base, it's very rare that they're going to kind of reinforce with more pylons, right? They're probably going to have less. They just want to get things powered again, so that makes it easier then for Mutalisks to come in later and take advantage of that, depower more crucial buildings here. But F91, oh yeah, that's that's not something you want to fly your Overlords into.
Nope, those would be dead pretty quickly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Destructible debris going down up at the front, and it looks like Jim's going to be able to react in time. Very nice blink up, picks off a couple of those Zerglings and heads back home. So things working out pretty well for him there.
Wow, +1 flyer, +2 melee and ground carapace right now for F91 as well. Using a lot of the gas that he had saved up, not using that Spire quite yet, getting Burrow instead. So interesting. I kind of wonder about the timing of that Spire. If he was maybe thinking about doing something, then he decided to change his mind and just get upgrades, or if he's just preparing for the late game. But here he goes with the third.
Yeah, that's right. So pretty good force field zoning out a lot of forces, but there are so many infested Terrans that they should be able to focus down the Nexus if they want, and it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. Nexus is down to, wow, I mean, it's just disappearing so quickly. There's so many infested Terrans there, and yet another base dies.
Indeed, the Nexus going down yet again, trading mostly infested Terrans for that. Pretty good trade for our Zerg player. The Infestors miles ahead of their opponents, so even though they do move kind of slow, they should be able to get away just fine. Zergling drops in position as well, and oh man,
That's right.
Jim is not ready. His army is nowhere near his main.
That's right, way away, and now, oh wow, already the probes just going ahead and moving into attack mode there, but it's not going to be enough. So much economy loss, the space is going to go down again. It looks like Jim is just trying to go for it. He's sending all his forces across the map, pulling back. Wow, really nothing, just decides to send those ahead as well.
Yeah, he's going for the counterattack. We've got ourselves a base trade, because right now, F91 doesn't have a lot at home to defend it. He has some spine crawlers, but could maybe be more nice fungal growth trapping some of these stalkers, but he's going to need a lot more of them if he wants to survive against this army.
And the longer Jim waits, the worse the situation is going to get. He can't reinforce with things back at home. Yeah, I mean, all of his gates are depowered. He's working off of just one gate there and a robo, and that's not going to be nearly enough for him to make his way back into this.
Yep, looks like he's going to go for that natural expansion, another fungal growth trapping, anything. Look at all those spine crawlers for F91. Totally prepared for this attack now that he's had a little bit more time. Nice force fields, though, by Jim, trapping some of those infestors.
And these fungals have been pretty good. These stalkers are getting very, very low.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that you may have blink and you'll be able to blink units away, but fungal growth does damage and it locks your units in place, and those are enough lings to take out most of this force, if not all of it, for Jim. So Jim just kind of losing traction left and right here, although he will take out this lower right base of his Zerg opponent at least.
That's right, does some pretty good damage there, but he lose an immortal here. No, looks like he's going to save it just in the nick of time with a few hit points left on it. And he's going to try and restart another base here, but his economy is just in shambles at the moment. He's down to just 40 workers and one base.
Well, he's lost so many gateways, too. He just doesn't have the ability to make units right now. He's going to go ahead and try to attack this third again. Not a ton of spines there, but it might be enough. Looks like the infestors don't want to fungal growth. They're just going ahead and letting this die. Big counterattack heading down to the third base as well, though. So F91 looks like he's willing to go ahead and trade. He knows he's up a base. Nope, a little bit of indecision from our Zerg player. That could be a bit of a problem.
A little bit of indecision, yeah, but he does finally decide to commit, and there's really nothing in position to be able to stop this. So, I mean, this is kind of a countdown clock now as Jim really has to get damage done, otherwise he's just dead.
Wow, Jim just being very hesitant himself as well with that push. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of spines there, but you're losing one of your only two other bases. Your army is all the way across the map. At this point in time, you just really need to go for it.
That's right. Well, looks like he is going to try and barrel through the front, but moving through that relatively small choke point is going to expose him to some fungal growth, and he is indeed being fungaled over and over again.
Yep, the spine crawler force has been whittled down just a little bit by Jim. It looks like he's taking it out as well, but yeah, his whole base is going down. Base trade so far being won by our Zerg player. 100 supply ahead. is Dream F91, but he's still got to do something about this army.
That's right. He's got another 60 Lings coming up at the same time as well. So pulling some drones off the line, running the Lings in first to try and do some damage, and the Stalker count is starting to shrink, and these Mortals not going to be nearly as effective against a Ling and drone force.
Oh, yeah, I really don't feel that was necessary to send all those drones there. I mean, he could have just at least, you know, let his opponent handle those macro hatcheries while he brought his army back. So I don't know, man. Just a couple pylons going down right now.
Oh, wow. Just 2 structures left. In fact, this pylon and the one down at the bottom. Oh, there we go. And Nexus finally getting established, so he has a little bit of room to breathe. But, of course, now that means that F91 can still mine off of this base and still replenish his Zergling force.
Well, I don't exactly know how Jim expects to come back from having his only Nexus outside of his opponent's base. I mean, that's going to be a little bit tough, to say the least.
Yeah, especially with just 1 probe there. So.
Yeah.
Well, looks like Jim's going to continue to run in here. And, well, F91's pretty out of position, unfortunately, so he's going to have to make his way back. Does he see this base yet? Now he does, and he's going to be able to take that out very easily.
Yep, that's right. I mean, he is down to just basically 1 mining base himself, too, so he does need to be careful. Fungal goes down on a lot of that stuff, trapping some of the Stalkers, and it looks like Dream 91 has plenty. GG, and we are all tied up.
Bam! So tied up and going to game number 5 of this best of 5 to see